So today I thought it appropriate that we talk about the art of letting go or closure. I think that's a real important thing, and we're going to explore it from many, many different aspects. And I have found that as I embark on Wednesday to go on my spiritual journey within for 10 days of silence, I realized that in order for me to be fully present on that journey, I had to find closure on a lot of different things. Also had to let go of a lot of different things. And so I realized that if I didn't finish up things, take care of things, if I didn't let go of responsibilities, if I didn't take care of all that stuff, when I was in the silence, my mind would have gone there. And if your mind is going someplace, you can't be still. And so I say, why is that so important? Because for me, 10 days of not speaking, not reading, not writing, not listening to anything, but being absolutely still takes everything I've got. And I don't want the distractions because I want to be open to hear what spirit within me is going to birth through me. So you've got to get rid of the distractions, and you've got to learn to let go. And so the first aspect of letting go for me is the aspect of completion. How many people have 150 emails they haven't read yet? How many people have all this stuff that's not done in their lives, that's sitting there, and where is it? It's replaying itself over and over and over in our mind. And when it's replaying itself over and over in our mind, can we be present in the moment when we're talking with someone? No. Because while we're talking to them, what are we having? We're having guilt feelings, or feelings, I've got to get that stuff done. I should be doing that instead of this. In other words, the whole idea of completion takes you out of being present. And here's the thing that you learn so clearly is that these minds never, ever, ever, ever stop analyzing. Question I ask is, what good is it? What good is all that analyzation doing? Not a lot. So what do you got to do? You got to what? Let it go. Let go of the ego's need to analyze things. You see, becoming more spiritually aware is about the ability to release the ego's control over our mind, about controlling what we think, what we do, how we analyze everything. That's ego. That's not the divine in you. The divine in you is already perfect. It doesn't need anything. It doesn't need to release anything. It doesn't need to achieve anything. It doesn't need to gather anything. It doesn't need to do anything. It just needs to be allowed to be revealed. But because we do have an ego, we've got to work to calm the ego down, don't we? And so completion is a real thing. Do you know how many emails are in my email right today that I have yet to work on, but I have read? 2. And I'm waiting for a response from 2 people, and I'll get that. And then when I check out on Wednesday, there will be 0 in my email. I have completion. I will have taken care of all of the arrangements for the next 2 Sunday services. Everything will be taken care of. So what's in my mind? 0. I'm setting myself up for success by using the gift of completion to free my mind. Then we can go from completion into releasing. And there's a difference about that. Releasing, for me, involves attachment. Being attached to something, I have to release the idea that Jean is going to take care of my dog who's going through this adjustment of being diabetic. And realize that between Jean and my son Stephen, they can handle it, and I don't need to have personal responsibility. Because isn't it, maybe it's not true for you, but it's obviously true for me. Who can do it better than me? Do you ever have that thought? Who can do something better than me? In our minds, nobody else can. I want you to know that humans have been on this planet for thousands and thousands of years, and you didn't have to be there for things to get done. Are you getting that? You did not have to be there. Things are happening when you're not around, and they're happening perfectly because the divine will continue to express whether you're here or not. And that's really difficult when you're a parent. It's real difficult when you're a grandparent because you think that your presence is the most important thing. It's not. It's coming to the realization that, number one, you are a secondary player in everyone else's movie. You are never the main character in another person's movie. I don't care if you've been married to him as long as I've been married, 47 years. Wendy, 48 or 49? 49 and counting. Chuck is not the main player in her life, and Jean is not the main player in my life. They're secondary characters, and some of you are saying, well, you're really cruel. How dare you say that about your wife in front of all these people? I'm telling you, if that pressed a button for you, you got issues. And why am I saying that? Because you're not in lovingness. You're in judgingness. And you don't know what works for a relationship. See, what works in a relationship is the ability to give your partner freedom to be themselves and you not be attached to that. And them to give you the freedom back. Then you're in a relationship that you're in the flow. Otherwise, you're in a relationship of egos battling each other all the time. And that's where all the stress comes into the relationship. But if Jean's able to be herself, she's not ever going to be mad at me. If I'm able to be myself, I'm never going to be mad at her. And I want you to know this up front. She's not here to meet my expectations. I'm not here to meet her expectations. And guess what? Neither of us are here to meet your expectations or anyone else's. Did you get that? That's living in freedom. But we were bound by thoughts that were presented to us when we were young that we have to be a certain way, that we have to act a certain way so others can see that we express love. I'll tell you this, the couples that I have witnessed doing more PDA are the ones who have the worst breakups and have the most misery when they're not in public. I watch. And it always works out because they're trying to be the best. They're trying to please their partner. You can't please anyone. Was it Ricky Nelson did that song? Going to a garden party. You might as well not please anyone else because you can't. You can only please yourself. So you've got to release your attachment to pleasing others. You've got to release your attachment to your life looking a specific way. You've got to release your attachment to the past. Because until you can release that, you can't be in the now. And that's the only place that God is. Here's the next one. In order to have this life of letting go, you've got to say no. And I got this email from this Christian minister who's a consultant, and he talks about that if you don't say no, you will be consumed by your community. You will be consumed. You will never get anything you want done. People will walk up. This is what people do. He's using this as a demonstration. People walk up to you and say, can I have a minute? Now, you know a minute is never a minute. And what are they doing? They're they're bringing you into their situation. The question is, you've got to ask is is it the right time for that to allow that to happen? Or do you schedule time for it to happen later? You have to honor where you are. If you have things going on with your family, and that's real important at Christmas time, unless it's an emergency, you unplug. It was fascinating. I took 2 calls after last Sunday regarding Agape. I took Lisa's call, and when she called, for some reason, I knew that I should be on that call. I knew. So I was there, and I gladly sat downstairs away from the family, and I was fully present. And then yesterday, I got a call from Hawaii, from Doreen, who's a member of our community, from way out in Kauai. And I knew to pick up that call. But you notice I set a clear intention that I'm not going to get any business calls. I'm not going to get any other calls. And the only calls I got were 2 where I could be of service. And being of service is one of my greatest gifts that I can feel within myself. So you've got to be really clear. And then you've got to learn to say no to that which is not serving. My granddaughter can really say no. I went over there, said, Claire, come with Grandpa. Now I've got my new name. It's Baba Lee. That's what I'm going to have her call me, because in the East, Baba is a term of endearment, and Lee is my name. And she can say Lee really well. So I'm now conditioning her to Baba Lee. I said, Claire, come with Baba Lee. No. Come on, I want you to come into the community so that they can all see you. No. She's over there with Lori, and she's over there with, I think, April, I think your daughter, Amber, and she's having a ball. She's got 2 women totally dedicated to doing whatever she wants them to do. And you'll say to her, Claire, let's do this. And she says no. And she presses the button on the book, and what plays? Baby Shark. Do you know how many times I've sung Baby Shark over the last 5 days? Do you know how many times in the middle of the night you wake up to nursery rhymes? You realize you're in that flow. Here's the thing. I consciously chose to be with her in that way. I consciously chose to be a doubting grandfather. I have no regret of it whatsoever. I can't wait to leave here, and for 2 hours more, I get to doubt on her. It's a choice. Being present. As much as I would like to be over there, I made a conscious choice to be here. And so when I'm here, I'm fully present with what I'm saying to you and whoever comes up to me and talks to me. I can't say enough about being present. I don't think we do that enough. I think we come into situations and we've got so many other things going on our mind because we haven't let go. And so we're dragging the past, we're dragging our expectations, we're dragging our to-do list, we're dragging what's coming up, the future ideas. We drag all that into this moment, and we don't get present. Here's what I understand about what Christmas is. Christmas is you become present, and the people you are with become present with you. There doesn't need to be anything under the tree. That's commercialism. What you give on Christmas, that's physical, is commercialism that we have bought into. I'm not knocking it, but I want you to know it is so freeing and easy in our relationship, Jean and mine. We haven't exchanged gifts in years. We don't do Valentine's Day. We don't do birthdays. We really don't do anniversaries. Why? Because every day is a special day. Every day is a day where you're grateful for who the people in your life are, and you're grateful that they give you the freedom to be yourself and you give them the freedom. Would you rather have that or a piece of jewelry? When you're dying, the peace of mind that you have about who you were and the love you shared will mean everything. That piece of jewelry will be nothing but a rock. I can't be more clear about this. I watch the holiday and I see how commercial everything has gotten. And I watch how people are getting into debt to celebrate Christmas. And do we realize the more we get into debt, the more enslaved we become? Do you get that? Modern day slavery is debt. Modern day slavery is not letting go. Modern day slavery is living in a state where you haven't completed the things you want to do. Modern day slavery is not being in the now. It's being worried that the past will affect you forever, and it's about anxiety that you're looking at to the future from the basis of the past. Letting go brings you into the now. The last point I want to make is the point of gratitude. Gratitude is not grateful for the good things that happen to you. Gratitude is about being grateful for everything that happens to you. And it becomes really clear that the ego cannot understand that concept. But to connect into the oneness that is God, that you are, that I am, it means that we become and we step out of the body, out of the mind, and we become the observer. And when we observe, we see the wholeness of life. We see the yin and the yang. In other words, we see that everything is in perfect balance all the time. The only time we don't see it in balance is when the ego has us looking from this perspective or this perspective. I like to use the eyes. The ego, this eye is looking at this way, this eye is looking at it that way, so you got duality. The third eye sees everything in balance. And when you see everything in balance, you've let go. Haven't you? You've let go of a one-sided life. You've let go of unrealistic expectations. Now, I don't want you to think that desire and moving toward things are bad. They're really good. Because we're in this human body, right? And we've got 5 senses. And those 5 senses allows us to experience life. But how about if we do it consciously? How about if we let go of stuff so we can be more present to experience the moments that we're creating in our lives now? Christmas is a very special time for me. It was a time that my mother made very special. And my mom has been gone now, she'll be gone 9 years in January. And I remember Mom was always about acts of service. And then I looked at my wife and I go, oh, Maria, you came back as Jean, did you? And Jean is all about acts of service. So I can remember on Christmas Day gently walking up to her and said, chill a little bit. Be more present, because in that presence you'll experience the love that everyone here has for you, no matter if you do any more or not. Because that baby doesn't care about how much you do. That baby only cares about who you're being when you're with it. It doesn't care if it has special food. It cares about the energy that you radiate. And my wish for my wife on Christmas was a connection with Claire that would overflow from her heart and nourish her for the eternity. That was my wish. And then what do you do when you have a wish? You align to it. And you find ways to help promote. Oh, Nona, come here. Be with Claire. Claire, go see your grandmother. That's love. Because love is acceptance, and love is promoting more acceptance. So I'm going to ask you now, what are you going to let go of? Not on January 1st, but right now. What are you going to let go of?
I want to thank you for joining us today. I'm so grateful that you took your time to watch or listen to this message. If you found this message beneficial, I would ask that you go to our website, agapecsl.com. Once there, click on the donate button and experience the joy of conscious and purposeful giving. Or if you would like, text your gift by simply dialing 972-532-6976. It is through your gifts that we are able to bring this message to you in the world. I would ask that if you like this message, to please subscribe to my YouTube channel under my name, Lee Wolak. Again, I want to thank you for joining me in the Agape community as we learn how to better self-love through conscious living.